Love, even if you don't support it, you can't ignore it. Even if you had a army on your side, you can't destroy it. We not ready for the smoke, we looking for it. When we hit the streets, we'll be so deep the door, you can't ignore it. Even if you don't support it, you can't ignore it. Even if you had a army on your side, you can't destroy it. We not ready for the smoke, we looking for it. When we hit the streets, we'll be so deep the door, you can't.
We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept. We are your Thursday late night show, and we are your host. I'm Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasser.
And like we always do, keeping the form of the show. All right, before we're going to come back with the thumbnail, but right now we're going to go directly into our news report from Officer Micah with the Watchmen report. Take it away.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Not going to hold up the show. Cap got some fire lined up for us. Let's get it. Germany to help Ukraine build long-range missiles to strike deep inside Russia. So, hey, it's going down. It's going down. Pray and fast, Israel. Former Russian president raises specter of a World War III as rhetoric over Ukraine ramps up. Trump said we so close to World War III, a lot of people don't even know it. Next article. Trump claims Canada considering offer of free Golden Dome in exchange for becoming 51st state. Hey, they got to pay. It is what it is. 4 Palestinians die in storming of UN food warehouse a day after gunfire at new Gaza aid site. So I thought they were feeding them over there. But they got to storm buildings to get food and other supplies. You can't make this stuff up. And the Lord going to hold them accountable. Botched crime scene handling could derail prosecution of Orleans Parish jail escapees. Former FBI agent says. Some people get fired on that one. Trump administration asks Supreme Court to lift limits on deportation to third countries. So not only does he say that everybody else got to pay, he's still trying to deport people into other countries. And this concludes the Watchmen Report.
You are now live.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Welcome back. So check it out. Hey, we've been doing this for many years, precept upon precept, like 6-7 years. And AI has changed the game. So this is an AI image. So you put there's a certain level of wording you put in, and it will generate an images in a scene based upon what you put in. So the name of tonight's show is called Babylon is Scrambling and Spread Thin. China and Russia cover down. So let's take a look tonight. So, hey, this is kind of cool how it generated. So they have it looks like the Statue of Liberty, but a stone figure, and it's breaking apart with the flag around it. You also have, it looks like an image of almost like a crash dummy with a cracked head fracturing. And then you have the bear, which represents Russia, and maybe that's supposed to be China. That might be China with the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have the different Chinese house. So you got that for the dragon right there. And as you can see, they show, AI shows that America is a position, it's taller than the rest, but it's beginning to implode, right? Whereas the Russia and China are rising up. So that's pretty cool how it did that with AI. So look, we're at episode 165. If you look in the corner, do us a favor. Please, please, please help us get to 30,000 subscribers. We're right there, and the next step is we're going to go right to 40,000. All right, so help us out. We're a slow grow process. Now, anything you brothers want to bring out about? Because I think I might have missed something. Oh, the back.
drones.
Yes, bring it out. Bring it out.
Yeah, but that's what the battle has turned into now, is the usage of drones, and this is flipping the script, where they're really tearing up the Ukraine, and Russia can't be making all of these drones, so he have drones up there for both Russia and China, which is helping to ward off the West.
That's a heavy point. Also, there's a lot going on here. If you look at the bottom, you've got explosions and fire on the left, so all pretty much on the bottom. And I do see, I'm not sure what that means, something decree. It's covered. They might have did that on purpose. Can anybody infer? I don't know what that first word is.
It doesn't look like it's written in English.
Nah.
And,
Yeah, sorry. Yes, sir. Well, anyways, it's a very interesting AI-generated thumbnail. And with that, tonight, we're going to show you how Babylon is scrambling, how they are spread thin, and how China and Russia are taking a position for the long haul. That's when you cover down, you get behind, you get your position secure. Now, let's first start. I don't want to start with that. I appreciate the order. Tech team orders all of our stuff. I actually want to start first with there's 2 or 3 articles about the U.S. is beginning to start the process of canceling China's student visas. That I don't think we know how big that is of a move that is. That's a power move. There's 3 of them. Let me see tonight's content. Let me look. That's Al Jazeera. Nah, show me. Yeah, let's do that first. Let's read this, because just so y'all know, and this is the last couple of days, the number one influx of student visas are with from the country of India, right? Followed right behind China. And that makes sense, because India just passed China 5 years ago as the most populous country. China's right behind it. They have almost 300,000 that they are planning to cancel. This is another level. So we're going to read this article. Whoever got that.
Yes, sir. U.S. to revoke Chinese student visas. What's the likely impact? One of the 4 foreign students in the United States is from China. 1 in 4 foreign students in the United States is from China. These students and graduates bring billions of dollars to the U.S. economy. Now their future is uncertain.
That's it?
No, sir. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on Wednesday that President Donald Trump's administration will aggressively revoke the visas of Chinese students studying in the country. The move comes amid the Trump administration's ongoing efforts to crack down on international students attending universities in the U.S., and at a time when Washington and Beijing are trying to negotiate a trade deal to end a spiraling tariff war between the world's 2 largest economies.
And you know what's important? They're actually trying to negotiate. This is a 90-day stall on the 145% tariff. This is a major. They're going on the attack economically.
Yep.
While they're trying to resolve. This is Trump. Trump is a proud Edomite. This guy, and this is all America's behind him. And when they say this, I was having a conversation with a brother earlier. When somebody says to you, like, let's put in a negative context. If someone says to you, a man robs a store, okay, that would be an article. Then the same article says a black man robs a store. It'll never be just a man. It'll say black man. Mm-hmm. So when they say make America great again, they're talking about Caucasian Americans. That's what they're talking about. So the reason why I say that is because what makes us think that they care about these Chinese people? They're not going to ban Ukrainians students. They're not going to ban, and they're at war, right? They're not even going to ban Russian students. Why don't they put a ban on Russian students? Because anybody outside of their race, they don't give a damn about. And that's what we're going to find out. Read on.
While China hawks in the U.S. have long called for greater oversight of the country's students at American universities, alleging that some among them might secretly be Beijing spies.
Right. And I have to say something very generalistic. They're not the people working in the rice fields that come over there. Okay, these are people that got affluence. They send them in private institutions. They come, remember, China has 1.4 billion people. So if they send 250,000 or 300,000 students over here, those are the cream of the crop that they come from money. So what Trump, in the mind of white America, right, not white America, is that these guys are here they're learning from our universities, they're doing trade secrets, they're getting the espionage, they're doing that's what Trump's coming from, that position. So, but the problem is that these Chinese folks pay full price for school. They're not going on no free rides. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be a rift between universities. Like Harvard is going against everything Trump throws at Harvard University.
Yep.
Read on, because there's two more I want to get to.
Rubio's announcement is the most dramatic step ever taken by a U.S. administration against students from any specific nation. Here is how it could impact students, American universities, U.S.-China relations, and the U.S. itself. What has Rubio announced? In an ex-post, Rubio wrote that the U.S. will begin revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields.
Do me a favor, tech team. Just came to me. I'm going to show you how, and Daniel talks about a kingdom partly, the toes were partly iron and partly clay, right? I'm going to show you. Google for me how many U.S. students go to school in China. Google that for me. I bet you're staggered how low the numbers are. Google that for me, please. This is, get Daniel. Is it Daniel chapter? Is it 2?
2, verse 30.
Get that part, because this is how you know America is that weakened kingdom. And it goes perfectly with the thumbnail of tonight's class. Babylon is scrambling, and it's falling apart. It's spread too thin, all right? It should be down towards like what?
33.
30, yeah.
Yes, sir. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 33. His legs of iron, his feet part of iron, and part of clay.
His feet, part of iron. Iron is strong. Iron is power. And part of clay. Why? Clay is impressionable. That's why the Chinese man can buy up farmland and all type of real estate in New York City and San Francisco. And guess what? It's a free market capitalistic society. And guess what? For too long, guys like Trump have been saying this. No, we got to level these markets. But it's too late that they're doing it. They can't stop the prophecy. Trump was saying this on the Oprah show back in 1985. He was on Oprah's show saying, we can't sell a car in India. We can't. And he was saying all that stuff back then. Trump, you're too late. Okay? And this is the proof. Read on. Okay, yeah, read that. I'm sorry, Micah.
Yes, sir. The number of American students studying in China has significantly declined in recent years, dropping from over 11,000 in 2019 to approximately 800 in 2024.
And that just came to me. They have almost 280,000 Chinese visas here, paying full price. 11,000, you said 11,000 is a drop in the bucket. Look what China, but China said, hell with you. Americans want to be over there. They want to learn Chinese. China had something to do with scaling that back. 800 students in 2024? 800 compared to 280,000. We're showing you America is that weak kingdom, and this is why you can have one of the largest real estate owners is a percentage of Chinese landowners in this country. You can't do that in China. You can't do that in India. Hell, you can't even open up a business in India.
Nope.
That's why they're trying to set up Apple factories in India. Now, go to the next one on. I'll tell you. I'm sorry. Go to, you was at number 8, right? Yes, please. Let me see. I don't want the short video. I want, what's number 8? Read 8 about Beijing. It's from Asia 1. That's what I want. And then we'll go to the video. Why is this important? Because at first, I'm looking, I'm like, should I even go into this? Yes, there is a lot behind this. They are literally, China right now, and for 2027, is preparing for war. Their military is preparing for an actual war. And they have the largest standing army. They dwarf the United States of America's army. Between all branches of the service, they dwarf them. Reed?
Yes, sir. Good days are over. Chinese students despair as U.S. cracks down on visas.
Now remember, why are they not cracking down the East Indian? Why aren't they cracking down the Russian visas? Russia's at war with Ukraine. Why aren't they cracking down with South African? They're oppressing white people. Why is it China? Because they fear China. They fear China. Read on.
Beijing, Chinese students with offers from U.S. universities expressed despair after Washington promised to start aggressively revoking Chinese student visas and ordered U.S. missions abroad to stop scheduling new student visa appointments.
So they shutting it down. You're not even getting an appointment. And they said, scroll up, I think it said aggressively or aggressively. Notice that the author that wrote that said aggressively, meaning they're not playing no games. There's no red tape. No, we stopping these Chinese people. Read on.
If applied to a broad segment of the 277,000 Chinese students already at U.S. colleges.
So I was wrong, not 280. Over 250,000 people that are already at the colleges, not to mention all the poolies that are waiting to get in. They're shutting down. If you multiply, do me a favor, get me the average the average cost of a college or university in the United States per year. We're going to get some numbers.
Cap, to add to what you're looking into, a lot of, because if you look at a lot of our people, they go into degrees that are like liberal arts, things like that.
Bring it out. I know
These jokers go into sciences, technology, engineering, and math.
That's
a big bulk of, and Trump's willing to hurt his own economy because our people ain't really lining up to get those degrees like the engineering, those technical, the more mathematical challenging degrees like they ain't looking into what's the name, organic chemistry and stuff like that. Them dudes doing it. Moab and Ammon going into that stuff.
And to your point, that's a phenomenal point because the number one, actually, there's more people from India that are students. And when they come over here, they become scientists, biologists, chemists, okay, mathematicians. Black people, and I'm guilty of it, my first degree, freaking general study. You don't know what to do, just take general studies. It's stupid as hell. And black people were not geared, black and Puerto Rican, Dominicans, we're not geared. Our teachers are not pushing us to, hey, make sure you take physiology, take chemistry, take advanced biology, take this, take that. So, because you can actually get credits in high school for college. I know some of the white people I went to high school with, and I got a couple of college credits. They had a whole semester already done by the time they left high school, man. Right, they could get it. Go ahead, bring it out, y'all.
But that's not an accident. That's back in my day. They funneled all of the education and all of the jobs away from the black and Hispanics here in America. They sent jobs. At one time they were sending Mexico, Canada, and now they against Mexico too. So now they kind of want to funnel them another way. But they did that in order for the so-called blacks in here, the Negroes, not to be able to come up to their level. That's what it's all about. One of the governors of Alabama, he said, why do people in Alabama will vote for you? They poor. He said, long as they're better than the black people, they'll vote for me.
And listen, and it's very important because I remember, and this is what happens to black kids, even black children that go to magnet schools and actually get bussed in and go to white schools. What happens is, and I've been in my whole life, usually the only black or one or two or three blacks in the class. And what happens is black people, what we like to do, and we see that it's many times you go to the back of the class, you kind of just try to stay invisible. And I remember one of my professors told me, part of your grade is participation. So when the other brothers is back there, oh, here he goes again. I'm up like this. Yes, and I'm participating. I don't care what they think about me. And that's the thing, man. They put pressure on us. So I forget where I was going there. Oh, So the point is, these East Indians and these Chinese folks are not taking pottery and ceramics and general studies. They are taking, like Officer Micah said, the advanced mathematics, the advanced sciences to become engineers, doctors, and other very high-paying, very high process degree. You got a lot to get there. You know, you need a bachelor's degree in chemistry and engineering is not the same as a bachelor's degree in general studies with a side of liberal arts. It's completely different. You can't walk through those classes. You got to really apply. And here's the thing. Our people, God in Deuteronomy 7 says we're better. Our people can do math and science too. And we can do it better, as a matter of fact. When you go in Psalms, it talks about Abraham taught the Egyptians, I think it was Abraham, taught Joseph. Was it Joseph? Taught them the ways of mathematics or something.
Yeah, Abraham, it's in the book of Josephus. Abraham taught them astrology and sciences and stuff like that, and then Joseph taught them as well. That's in Psalms,
right.
I think 90.
If you can find that. I just kind
up to date, to make it to the moon, it was a black woman that did the calculation. Yes, sir, to get it to the moon. So we can definitely do that thing. Math was one of my favorite subjects. Loved it.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Psalms 105.
Psalms 105. We can, and this should be for all our children, the truth. I'm going to sidebar real quick. All of our children that come up, many of them are going to be homeschooled because, according to Revelation 18:4, we're supposed to come out of her, my people, right? So as long as you get your high school degree and you're competent in science and math, and you enroll yourself in an advanced degree, our children, I'm not saying you shouldn't be, not wrong being a carpenter or trades. We need tradesmen as well. And we need registered nurses. But what we need is more of what the East Indians and what the Chinese are going to school for. We need those because we need to build cities. We need to build roads. We need to be able to do all these things that the maths and sciences are going to warrant.
Yep.
Okay? It's very important that we do it. Now, you got that in Psalms?
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 105, verse 17.
Watch this.
He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant.
So he sent a man, Joseph, because Joseph was sold for a servant. Remember Joseph with the coat? They left him in the hole. And after that, guess what happened? They watched the Arabs take him. They watched him from a distance take their brother, man. And so I'm telling you, man, that's why he could have did them dirty, man. And when they came to Egypt to get grain, he could have gone over on their ass. It shows you that the Lord can use certain situations. And Joseph have a very forgiving spirit. Okay, read on.
Whose feet they hurt with fetters.
Right, and they shackled the brother. Read on.
He was laid in iron.
Right.
Until the time that
proves the fetters are talking about iron shackles. Read.
Until the time that his word came.
Right, so he was locked down for a minute. It wasn't just a 36-hour lockup. Read on.
The word of the Lord tried him. The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people.
Right.
And let him go free.
Because he found favor. Remember, he was a just man, and Joseph was favored. He found favor in the eyes of everyone he was around. Read on.
He made him lord of his house.
Right.
And ruler of all his substance.
Right. Did he get to the part yet?
Yes, sir. To bind his princes and his pleasures.
Yeah. And
teach his senators wisdom.
So if he taught the senators wisdom, I'm not saying it was all math, but some of it was definitely math. Okay. Mathematics is wisdom. Mathematics takes application and wisdom in explaining. Hold your point. If I'm Joseph, I'm a son of a slave, right? A senator is someone of a very high caliber of education. Joseph taught the senators, meaning they wanted to learn from him. So his level of explanation in the sciences, the arts, and of teaching, what are you going to teach a senator? How to make a freaking bread? The senators, he taught them about science, arts, math, wisdom. Joseph was at another level. So anybody that says that the Israelites, we can perform on the level of the Chinese man, on the level of the East Indian, and we can excel. Once we have that true understanding of who we are, we can go by them. Go ahead, man. Cap.
Hey, he did teach the senators science because remember, He dehydrated foods to last 7 full years.
Yes.
How can you do that without knowledge of how to do it? Where did they store it? How did they store it? They didn't have refrigerators.
Right.
They didn't have freezers. They didn't have a dehydration machine. So how did Joseph know how to take those foods and have them stored for years at a time and be like, look, this is how you store it, and you can slowly sell it back to the people when the need comes? That was science. He knew that.
And to the point where the reputation was, everybody know. Listen, you starving to death? Go to Egypt. They got the stuff, and they no, it's legit. I went there. That's how we survived. So the point is, now get to this real quick. We're not going to get to everything tonight, but it's fine. I want the average cost of college, and AI, it's fine, and we're going to multiply that by 277,000, right? And that's just for 1 year. So what is that, 11 grand? Chinese people, they're not going to public. They're not going to LSU. Well, some of them would. They're going to these private schools, these Harvards, these Yales, these Ivy League, these small colleges that are elite. Okay, so what is it? Out of state students. Okay, do 30,000. No, matter of fact, just do 43,000. Private, nonprofit, 4-year college average. That's what we want. Multiply 200. It's going to be some 277,000 multiplied by 43,350. That is what the U.S. is going to be losing on average per year.
Damn.
It's a big number. It's the size of Severus. That's a big damn number. Hey, Cap, you know you gonna get to the green. I'm messing with you, man. I talked to Captain Severus tonight. He's actually, I'm pretty impressed by that well-gutted Lardback. God, I don't even know how to say that.
11 billion.
No.
Yes, 12 billion, Cap.
Okay. So if $12 billion a year, they're going to be losing. Now that's a big number. Now if you multiply that by 4, that's almost $50 billion with a B that the U.S. would be losing. Like you said, Captain Matt mentioned, Micah mentioned, they're willing to lose all of that. Why? Because they're scrambling, man. They're trying to get an uphold, and they realize that China has the advantage, unfortunately.
Well, they basically trained China, schooled them over the years like they did with Japan. They gave Japan technology, steel mills. I remember when they were building their auto factories, and it turned around. Now they took the lead of you,
Right.
and they're angry at them, but they saying, hey, you gave this to us. You didn't want to give it to them Negroes.
And here's the other thing that the wisdom that they have is that in their school systems, the ones that are going to do business, and it's mandatory that they learn both Mandarin and English. And the U.S. has never adapted any other. We never saw China or Russia, and they should be bilingual, even if it's just Spanish. We don't learn that because that's that preeminence that the U.S. says, oh, we don't need anything else. Everybody's got to bow to us. Yeah. And China adapted the whole time. Now, go where it says it's pretty absurd. Yes. Right there you go.
It's pretty absurd. It doesn't seem like something that should happen these days. I scrolled social media and felt quite anxious seeing other people's reactions, says Chen, 22.
Isn't that's a typical stereotype Chen? The guy's name is Chen. Read on.
Who has a postgraduate offer to study a humanities subject from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Now, we just did the numbers on bachelor's degree. Most Chinese people go on to get advanced degrees. So if you add the cost of master's degrees, and then you do postgraduate degrees, like a doctorate degree, many of them do that. You're talking, you could be up to $100 billion that they're going to be losing. That's a lot of generated funds. Read on.
Yeah. Where I leave off at?
I can't remember.
Okay, although my major is not sensitive, my visa application process hasn't started yet, and my course begins in early August. Chen, who lives in southwest megacity of Chinguti is prepared to defer his studies for a term if the visa doesn't come through in time. She preferred not to share her full name for privacy reasons. If I really can't go to the U.S., I may take up an offer from the UK's London School of Economics, she said.
Now, do me a favor. Give me Revelation 17. What are the series of events that's going to make the 10 horns hate the great whore? Well, number one, you blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, which crippled them.
Yep.
Now, if Mossad put in Trump's heart to do something this stupid, right? Now you start taking the students from China and they start going to the European countries. That's the next place. They're not going to send them to friggin' Nigeria. They're not going to send them to Uganda to go to school. They're going to send them to the white countries of UK and Europe. And that's going to bring more money. And I'm telling you, that's going to distance them even more. Okay? Read that, Revelation 17. It should be 16. I'm not looking at it.
Yes, sir. The book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast.
So the 10 horns, just for review, excellent job, tech team, excellent job. Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, UK. They just mentioned they may go to UK. Italy, Greece, France, Denmark, and Ireland. All of those are the EU, and they're found, with the exception of Ireland and the UK, which is an island, United Kingdom. It is part of Europe. All of those are going to have power. They're going to come together militarily. They're going to come together economically, and they're going to reap the benefits of the U.S. segregating themselves. Okay? And we're showing you an article right now. Billions and billions of dollars. These guys are making decisions outlandishly. You're going to ban all Chinese? It's madness. Yep. The other article said this is the most severe in the history of the United States of America. And why is this not? This should be all over. This should be crazy. Can you imagine if they said to all 800, if China said all 800 of you could not come to our Chinese schools anymore? It'd be on every friggin' news station, everywhere. Okay? Go back. We're almost done with that.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you do stuff like that. I mean, that's what I was thinking, honestly. Like, well, if the U.S. is going to ban them, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of them have English educations as well, and a lot of those prestigious senators and politicians and diplomats and all of that, a lot of them go to schools in Europe as well.
Facts. I think let's pass on that. There's a short video, number 9, and that it's going to give, it's from Al Jazeera. I think this is it. So now this is going to affect Moab, all right? The biblical name of Chinese people.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will begin to aggressively revoke Chinese student visas and increase scrutiny of future applicants. That includes those who may have ties to the Chinese Communist Party or are studying critical fields.
I think this is
Chinese
the same
students make up
article
the
video. I think it's the same thing, but I wanted us to show that this is the real deal. They've got the Chinese lady from Al Jazeera reporting this, and this is going to take effect. They did a similar thing to the Japanese, where they put them in like a concentration camp style thing. I forget, that was in California, I believe it was. They rounded them up. I think, was it World War II? Do y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. They actually rounded up Japanese people. Nothing like what happened to black people, but and then they paid them reparations.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
Paid them reparations. It makes me, God, man.
Yes.
It's like bringing Afrikaners over here. I'm just saying.
But listen, man, the East are the devil, and that's why we got to stick to this truth. No matter what happens, no matter what you go through, the only way you're going to see justice in the indignation, the righteous judgment of God, is if we endure to the end. Because we got no power. We got no power in this society. This man got the ability to say at a snap of his finger, all you Chinese, get out of my country. And these are the elite, the upstanding citizens that are paying big, big money, billions and billions of dollars. They don't care, all right? Now, so that's it for that. Let's go to while that's going on, you've got NATO is strengthening ties with the Ukraine. Why? Because Trump members suspended funding and they stopped with Intel. Now, who's the next biggest power? Guess who? Who is we covered it many times on this show. Who is the largest economy in Europe? Germany. Germany is the largest economic force in Europe. Play number 2, I think it is. I think it's maybe I'm wrong. Hold up. Number 2. If you can't get that, you can get number 3. Either way. I think this is going to be subtitles. No, the other one's subtitles.
Range missiles for the country to use to fight off Russia's invasion. Now, it had been thought that Germany could supply its own Taurus missiles for Ukraine to use. Let's get a bit more detail and bring in our Europe correspondent, Siobhan Robbins, who is in Berlin for us. So, Siobhan, look, this announcement that Germany is going to finance Ukraine's homemade industry to make these long-range missiles, I guess, will be welcome news in Kyiv. Do we get any more detail, or perhaps not, on the Taurus missiles and whether they'll be provided as well?
Yeah, Taurus was the word that definitely wasn't the headline.
Tech team, you know what, right? Taurus missiles. Stay with me. Because we talked about it before. We talked about the Storm Shadow. We talked about cruise missiles. And now this is Taurus. This is important. So if you type in TAU, like the car, Taurus missiles, and we're going to get the range. I actually want to cross-reference it because they say 500 kilometers. I think it's longer than that. We'll get that, but we'll finish. We'll get that when we come back after this video.
On either the Chancellor or the President's lips today. But let's just go through what was announced in this joint news conference by President Zelensky and the new German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz. So as you were saying, one of the things that they've said will happen is that Germany is going to help fund the joint production of long-range missiles in Ukraine and also possibly in Germany as well. They're basically, this is the very first step on this journey together. They're going to sign a document about this today, and hopefully we'll get more information as the days and weeks go on. However, maybe not, because the Chancellor was saying they would keep many details close to their chests for military reasons.
Now, I'm not going to speed past the fact that this is the same guy who threatened Trump in the Oval Office on American soil and said, you're comfortable now. You got, what do you say? You got nice big oceans that protect you. You don't feel it now, but you will.
He said you'll feel it.
Now, it's being reported that Germany is going to help Ukraine fight against Russia with long-range missiles. Didn't Revelation 17:16 say that the 10 horns would hate the whore and burn her with fire?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying, if Germany helps Ukraine get long-range missiles, why would they use it against Russia that's right there? Why wouldn't they just use it against the U.S., who disrespected them, threatened them, and put them in compromising positions?
And to your point, it's going to happen. Because if you think about it, the German citizens, right? Here I am, before they came along with the whole green thing that they wanted by 2030 with all the policies that all the farmers, remember we did shows, the farmers went and dropped doo-doo on the lawn of the White Houses out there. The people in Europe are sick and tired of NATO and how they're being led by the U.S. What we got to realize is that when the Nord Stream pipeline came from St. Petersburg, Russia, it docked and ported in Germany. It crippled Europe's economy. To your point, Captain Matthew, this is a lot deeper than meets the eye. And guess what? Russia launched that missile called the, what's it called? Remember they hit the ICBM and hit? Rusnik.
Yeah.
And that hit, the range on that is ICBM range. They just changed the warhead. They can touch Germany like that. Also, Captain mentioned about Germany with the detention. Not only did the U.S. help to defeat Germany in World War I. They also destroyed and was the key factor in destroying in World War II Germany. So there's a long line of sentiment of resentment rather towards the U.S. So all these things are coming into play, and these things. Well, Germany's just helping the UK. There's more behind it. Okay, the Most High had Trump and the administration said we're going to back from Ukraine, and then guess what? Now he's aligning with Germany, and he didn't go to Italy. Why didn't he go to Italy? Why didn't he go to Czechoslovakia? Why not go to Portugal? Because they don't have power like Germany does. France is up there too, but Germany's got the power. That's why they're going to them. Fourth largest economy in the world is Germany, okay? First in all of the UK and EU. Remember that.
It was the jewel of the European nations until they blew up the Nord Stream, and then we built all of those replacement gas plants over here. They have one right down, and of course, Bell Chase, and they're building another one. So it was a plan to hook European nations on our gas. That's what it was. That's what they were planning. So they're going to resent that down the road.
So and this is why we have as the Bible tells us, we understand is this, we can watch and pray. We can watch for these things. When we see articles like this, as we're putting the show together, that's why that. Oh, that's that. That makes sense. I see why that's happening with that. And we can sit back and be patient saints. That's why when we did the call, patient hates, it's because that's what we got to be. We got to be patient saints. We got to sit back and wait. And that's why when you're at that position, you're not at the position of attention. You're standing by, waiting, but you're patient. Okay? I used to hate that, man. Freaking half hour sitting freaking like that. Messing with you. Okay. That is, bring it out. Taurus, Taurus, yes.
Overview. The missile incorporates stealth technology and has an official range in excess of 500 kilometers.
So in excess. Okay. Is there any more now or no?
300 miles.
Okay. And that's similar to the Storm Shadow. It's similar to cruise missiles. These are long range or medium range missiles. Now, okay, that's it on that. Go to, did you get number 3 yet? Get number 3. It's along the same line. I think this may be the German Chancellor speaking. Number 3. It's a short YouTube video. Number 3. So look, this dude is like a munchkin. He's short as hell. He's like the size of that. Where's that? Yuwanathon from South Carolina? That dude is so short. He sit on the curb and his feet swing back and forth. Short joke. Anyways, sorry, Ace. I apologize. We got a short guy, but he's getting real upset over there. The tech guy. He's like 5'3.5".
Resnick's range, though.
Bring it out, bro.
Resnick's range is 5,000 kilometers or 3,100 miles.
Since Yasa went there, we got to go there. Give me the distance from Moscow to Berlin. Okay? Showing you, Yasa, Officer Yasa, not only can they touch Germany, they can touch the UK. They can hit London from Russia.
And that was their point when they shot that thing.
I know I'm throwing a curveball at you. It should be 2. So if you can get miles, because that's probably closer to like 1,400 miles. Kilometers, we don't know kilometers. Because a 5K is 3 miles. So it's probably closer to about 1,200 miles. So to point Officer Yasa's point, that's light work for the Resnick. That's light work for the ICBM with the different warhead. Light work.
And Cap, it wouldn't take 19 hours to get there.
Right. Oh shoot, 19 not even 19 minutes.
19 hours and 44 minutes. No.
That is a hypersonic missile, and when it hits, it hits and it rains down. It's so fast. And that was without nuclear warheads. So if you want to beef with Russia, and this is what's going to happen, they are going to drop bombs in other parts outside of the Ukraine, rather.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. How else is the war going to pop off? You tell me all the war's just going to be with Israel bombing Gaza and that? No, all this has got to pop off. And how is the 10 horns going to hate the whore? The UK and the European countries are going to form an alliance, and it's going to be against the United States of America. Okay? Where were we at? I'm losing my track. Number 3.
Unsere militärische Unterstützung fortsetzen und wir werden sie ausbauen, damit sich die Ukraine jetzt und in Zukunft eben gegen diese...
He just got elected. That's German Chancellor Friedrich Merz.
I'm about to read it. He's speaking another language.
Okay. Play it again, Officer Micah. Can you rewind it?
He's speaking German.
Unsere militärische
We will continue our military support
Unterstützung fortsetzen und wir werden sie
and even increase it
ausbauen, damit sich die
so that Ukraine can continue to defend itself
Ukraine jetzt und in Zukunft eben gegen
against this Russian aggression
diese russische Aggression weiter zur Wehr setzen
now and in
kann.
the future.
Unsere
Stop real
Verteidigungs
quick. There's an old expression we all know. A friend of my enemy is my enemy. And they're not playing with Germany. They're not playing with anybody that's talking about they're going to fund them. And part of the funding is just not they're going to give them money. They're going to give and produce some of the missiles. The Taurus missile. Okay, play on.
werden heute eine
Our defense-
Absichtserklärung
A memorandum of understanding
über die
on the procurement of long-range weapon
Beschaffung weitreichender Waffensysteme.
system produced by Ukraine.
Now that's BS. That's BS. The way they're doing it is, yeah, the Ukraine, we're going to fund them and they're going to produce it. They're going to, in a war-torn country, when a lot of the population either fled and a lot of them died. You trying to tell me you're going to set up facilities and build facilities? That's BS. They're going to have the missiles produced and made in other countries. Yep. Russia is not stupid. They're going to find out when those tourists start shooting. They're going to bomb the countries. They're going to get intel, and they're going to bomb those countries where those missile facilities are. Watch.
Aus ukrainischer
Systems produced
Produktion
by Ukraine.
sogenannter
So-called long-range fires.
Long-Range Fires unterzeichnen. Es wird hierbei
There will be no range limits on these.
keine Reichweitenbeschränkungen geben. Die Ukraine kann
Ukraine will be able to fully defend itself, including
sich damit vollumfänglich verteidigen, auch gegen
against military targets outside its own territory.
Translation, Moscow and internal Russia. Not on the border, of Crimea. They can touch Moscow. They can touch eastern Russia. As soon as Russia, they've already figured that out. Okay, Russia's thing is we don't bother anybody. 1991, NATO said there would be no more encroachment. You kept encroaching. You backed them in the corner. So there's 140 million people in Russia, the largest country on the planet Earth, right? Huge resources. They're not going to they're not going to preserve their own country. They call it Mother Russia. They have great pride in their people. They have nuclear weapons more than the U.S. They're going to draw their hand. And Putin has already proved, I will shoot an intercontinental ballistic missile, not a nuclear head. Not yet a nuclear head. But the power and precision of those continental missiles, regardless of the warhead, is precise. It's hypersonic. You can't defend against it. Nope. You cannot. They even said that, talking fast, they have missile systems for the U.S. that are anti-hypersonic missile technology. The success rate is 50%. So if you shoot 10 hypersonic missiles, right, at best, you're going to get about half of them.
Facts.
You don't understand. Like right now, while Jake is thinking about the friggin' dumb NBA finals and all the stupid stuff that's going on, we are literally having Germany, the world's 4th largest economy, biggest in Europe, is funding and saying we're going to make sure you can fight Russia and touch Russia in Russia. Russia's watching this. And by the way, we're about to get into it next after break. They almost killed Vladimir Putin this last week in a major drone attack. It's funny, Micah. I didn't even look at any of your stuff. I pulled a lot of the stuff that you pulled. And it's because that's what's going on in the news. You gotta see it for what it is. We're very close. Because before, it was only the Ukraine. It was a proxy war. Now Germany, the new he just got elected. Now he's saying, we're going to fund you. You're going to be able to defend yourself and beyond. I'm telling you right now, once they touch, pull up Article 51 or Article 17, NATO. Pull up that article. Yep. Ukraine is not, I hope y'all that watch the show pay attention. The Ukraine is not part of NATO. No. Remember, they tried to get into NATO, but NATO said, no, we're not rolling with that. Yep. But Germany is a NATO country, an EU country. If you touch Germany, pull up the article, 51 or whatever the hell it is. Type in NATO attack clause, something like that. I know I'm kind of curveballing you real quick.
And Cap, why they looking for that? What our people's don't understand, U.S. was already supplying Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they pretty much doing is say, Ukraine's going to have the capability to make missiles. What they doing, they shipping it in. It's got an American flag on. They pulling an American one off and putting a Ukraine one on there. That's essentially what they're doing.
Yep. And the reason why it's a lot easier for the Russians to shoot Germany, because you're right there. For them to shoot the U.S., they're not that stupid yet. No. But they will. Look how Germany's in the center of Europe. Right there. Read that, please.
Collective defense and Article 5. The principle of collective defense is at the very heart of NATO's founding treaty. It remains a unique and enduring principle that binds its members together, committing them to protect each other and setting a spirit of solidarity within the alliance.
Now, see if it lists the NATO countries in this article. If not, let's try to, if we can get the NATO countries, it might list them.
I thought it had them in there.
Probably, let me see.
Should be down.
Just Google NATO countries. And I just want to prove to the people Germany is in that art. It would be enacted. Then they would be required, along with Canada, the U.S., and all other NATO members, to going together. And here's the problem. The U.S. is going to separate itself at that point, and they're going to beef even more. Wait a minute. You don't want to set all these policies over the years. You got that big, beautiful ocean between you, and now we need your help, and now you're crickets? Watch. All these things are working together. Stop it. I'm about to get a Charlie horse. I was training this last weekend, and shout out to the UK. I got a Charlie horse so bad in the back of my hand, I couldn't even walk. Anybody ever had that happen when you get locked up?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Bruh. After you play basketball all day without salt, and man, shoot.
I was in the bed one time, that leg locked up.
Bruh.
Ooh, I come about that.
Bruh, man, I almost had it just now. I had it when Deacon Abiel came down. I don't know if you remember. I jumped up out the goddamn chair, locked my legs up.
But Cap, I want to mention
Bring it
about
out.
something Trump said this week. He said, Putin, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But what he was saying was, you killing up white people. This is the problem here, Putin. You about to bring all the white people into battle against each other. And because he's not mentioning what the Israelis are doing to the past. The Israelis ain't crazy,
right,
but Putin's crazy for killing. The Israelis killing just as many as Putin is killing up for the Ukrainians. So
hundreds of thousands of Palestinians killed, 2/3 of them or half of them women and children, babies, and thousands upon thousands upon thousands of permanent casualties. I mean, permanent long-term injuries. And he's not said one thing about stopping that. To your point, white values white. Yep. That's just the way it is.
The way it is.
See if read, if you find me Germany.
Yes, sir. As of May 29, 2025, NATO has 32 member countries: Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany.
Stop right there. All of these countries are required, according to Article 5, to defend militarily Germany. This is why think about it. What, in order for Revelation to come to pass, how would the U.S., who dictates policy in NATO? It's not Germany. Mm-hmm. It is, why were they boycotted? NATO gotta go in all these European countries, because the U.S. is across the Atlantic Ocean. They're the ones setting policy, but the people in Europe are struggling. Yep. And Biden's dumb old cranky ass, if I promise you, if they do that, the Nord Stream pipeline will be no more. He told you he was going to destroy it, and now no one knows. The lawyers, we think that the Swiss were responsible. They had underwater divers, probably they sent the SEALs over. Okay, I can't prove that. They probably sent underwater demolition specialists over with a bunch of freaking underwater C4, whatever the hell, and they blew that up. Mm-hmm. They come by now, you're not going to find them guys. No. Okay, so these things are, I know we've reviewed it before, and I'm repeating myself. These things, as we watch it go down, we're not trained to see what's about to happen. World War III is very, very, very close. And if you think about Trump, and it goes later after we come back from the break, this is why he's smart from the perspective of, if I'm a company and I have to protect my company from going under, from going bankrupt. He's looking like a business. Well, let me scale back some of my military. Let me draw back from NATO. Let me build the Golden Dome. Let me get Canada $61 billion if you want your share. You join the 51st state, free of charge. Let me secure, now I have geographic supremacy, airfields, naval yards, all up and down the coast of Canada, because all those waters are warming up. The waterways, it's a fight for the Arctic region. And we did a show on that. All these things, Trump is preserving Babylon as it goes down. That's what he's doing. But it's crumbling. And guess what? The EU is going to come together. The budgets have been increased for the militaries. Germany's coming to the aid of the Ukraine. And guess what? If Article 5 rolls through, the U.S., I'm telling you, they're not going to be involved. But all them European countries are going to realize, well, shoot, they touched Germany. We right next to Germany. And the U.S. is way over there. Yeah. And then, all these things. And then that's even when the leaders are going to start saying, man, the U.S. has done us dirty this whole damn time. Mm-hmm. The whole time the U.S. has done us dirty, and it's going to come to pass, and the prophecy is going to be revealed before our eyes. So, look, before we go to break, when we come back, we're going to go into about Vladimir Putin was actually an attempted assassination on his life with a drone swarm attack, and they also say that it was not Ukraine-sponsored. Okay, the Ukraine didn't have the satellite capacity to actually do that, they said. Anyway, so with that being said, we're going to go, before break, we're going to go to Officer Yasa. He's going to bring some information and knowledge out. I promise you, you're going to want to know. Stick around. Shalom.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. My hand I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You wanted this. My hand Shalom, Most High in Christ. Bless. Another book review. Actually, it's the same book, Medical Apartheid. And we just want to do a quick summary on this and bring out the fact that this sister who wrote Medical Apartheid, she brought out many books on this. And the reason we brought this because what was done to us in history, we have to be careful for it not to be done to us again. And so in part one of the book,
lays out the foundation about exploring the early history of medical experimentation and mistreatment of black Americans, particularly during the era of slavery and early post-slavery period. Key topics covered include James Marion Sims. This dude here is disgusting. The chapter discusses Sims, considered as the father of gynecology, and his unethical experiments on enslaved black women without anesthesia. And some of that still occurs today, because when you go to the doctor and you have an ailment, they want to give you Tylenol 3. They don't want to give you the good medicines that stop the pain, because they feel, A, that you don't experience pain as black people. This is part of history. It's come out in the book that they don't believe you experience pain, as well as they exhibiting of the African American. This explores how they put us in zoos, how they exhibit us in zoos as black people, and medical curiosities, you know, how they look at us, you know, how they say that we have extra long penises and so forth. This is how they, don't laugh, but it's true. This is how they have treated us in the past, and we have to be aware that the dehumanization of black individuals has happened in the past, and it's going to come back again. Section 2 is the usual suspects, which goes in experiment and incarceration people who are in jail. This goes on to this day. To this day, people who locked up don't have the rights to stop medical experiments. So put up the other picture with all of the books that she wrote. Huh? That's it right there. So this isn't some inexperience. This is well thought out research information, which she was in the medical industry, and she went into looking into a terrible thing to waste. That's our education system that they use on us. It goes into the eugenics, infectious madness, the surprising. It gets into again, how they use infectious disease on us. They implant cancer, syphilis. We know about Tuskegee experiments. Goes into the medical industries, deadly monopolies, why the medical industry uses us to come up with the different medicines that they use on us. Other books she did, living healthy with hepatitis C. And so we have to start living healthy and avoid a lot of this stuff that they do to us in the hospital. Always be, excuse me, very educated when you go into the hospital and when you're going to get something done. You want to know exactly what's going to be done with you, and you're going to tell them what you want. You're not going to let them tell you what they're going to do to you. And that's going to be the book review for tonight.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this? Power. My hand is one.
This is what Memphis should be about. Black brothers coming together and uniting.
And being positive and productive. Unity. Each one teach one. See, we come together, we become a power to be reckoned with.
Right.
Real.
Look at that.
Israel United in Christ was started in 2003 by Bishop Nathaniel. One of the quotes Bishop Nathaniel loved to say is, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." That's a quote by Frederick Douglass. I want to begin by clearing up a common misconception. Israel United in Christ is not a hate group. Time and time again, whenever a so-called pro-black group rises up to fight for their people, when we focus on uplifting our own, we are labeled as hate. So y'all understand that we are not a hate group. This label is not only false, but it is a deliberate tactic to turn the masses away from the truth and from unity. Unity! Unity! Unity!
It just don't run through my body just to see this here. This is so beautiful. I'm gonna have to try to join this boys because this is called about people. It really is. We are so divided now. We need to come together.
We're gonna take the whole army of God on Bill Street once again. Look, they don't know what's about to hit them. Yesterday Esau was messing with us, telling us we can't teach here, we can't teach there, and we still taught in the places he told us not to teach. And now he's gonna see us come back like on steroids today. It's going down, man. But this the battle for the souls of Memphis. Yes, sir. Shalom. Everybody sitting up there talking about they tired of the violence in the community. So we out here for the community. We is the symbol of change in the community. We are ex-gangbangers. We are ex-drug dealers. We are ex-whoremongers. At one point in time, we didn't love our wives. Some of the men didn't take care of their children, but guess what? Now they got healthy households and healthy marriages. The violence in Memphis and other cities is not the fault of our youth. They are the product of broken systems and absent leadership. The real issues lies with adults who have failed to guide, protect, and teach the next generation. The Christian church, as it was handed down to us during slavery, has kept us asleep. I said it. The Christian church has kept us asleep. The scripture says in Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. If we think of ourselves as less than, as criminals, as nobodies, that is what we become. But we reclaim our true identity as Israelites, as kings and queens, as God chosen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the king. Let's go.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Cap Matt here with Kingdom Music. Look, man, we gotta scale it back. You know, Original Royalty has been coming up with so much music. All right, we gotta kind of marinate in this here. All right, so we gonna play something from the country album, cause look, the album is fire. It is what it is. Black people, we started country. They took it from us. We started country, we started rock and roll, we started blues, we started all that. Music was our thing, all right? And they took it from us. So now we taking it back. And we're going to take it back with a little history lesson from the pen.
Now flying.
I can't wait till I'm looking through that chariot window and escape Babylon with all my kinfolk. The faith of the saints in purple and gold. Let me give a little story that's never been told. Hey, 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 we gon' have a good time. Man was made in your image, we forgot and lost our way. Told us the way to walk in, you let us know you want to play. Hey, hey, we gon' have a good time. 400 plus years of servitude, Egypt and the Bible is similar to. Firstborns got killed cause Pharaoh wasn't chill. Raised up just to fulfill the Lord's will. Northern kingdom wasn't right in the Lord's sight. Sierra came down, couldn't even fight. Lord one way to stop, put the flight. Now they're strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Let's take a little pause to the story. Today we're not together. That day when Christ returned, he's gonna make us all remember. Babylon came round with gold on the crown. Stop what you're doing, you gotta hear the sound. Daniel got saved for not bowing down, and Nebuchadnezzar was based to the ground. All this time that came along, at this point I just wanna go home. Right when our prayers reached his throne, then we did it all again, it's typical. Lord, we are not worthy. Thank you for all the mercy show, cause we don't deserve it. Behold a new beast, got ribs in his teeth. Raised on one side, Persia was increased. Thanks for the ride, it still got the beat. Before you even know it, then here come the Greece. Alexander was the least, they know Epiphanes. The king got killed, shout out to Maccabees. Zealous for the law, come on, follow me. Taking down the heathen and our enemies. Later down, here comes Rome. They besieged us and conquered my home. Killed my savior and thought he was gone. He's coming back, crushing all your 10 toes. And that take place in America, the so-called land of freedom. The Lord gon' raise his kingdom up right in the midst of Edom. We gon' rule the nations with the two-edged sword. Thank God that kingdom coming, because we serve the Lord. I can't wait till I'm looking through that chariot window and escape Babylon with all my kinfolk. The faith of the saints in purple and gold. Let me give you a little story that's never been told. Hey, 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 we gon' have a good time.
Now that is what you call music. It's a whole history lesson from the time that we was in Egypt all the way up to America. You understand? That's what music is supposed to be about. It's supposed to tell a story about something. All right? So stay tuned, y'all, because you know Original Royalty is coming with some big things. They got a lot of changes that's coming. We got a lot more music that's going to come out. Original Royalty is about to get a whole new makeover. All right, so stay tuned. We about to come back with some more fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's the dream team. Let's go. Hey, hey, 12, hey, hey, 12 up.
Hey, shalom. Welcome back. Precept upon precept. Throw the thumbnail up, y'all, those who are just joining us. Please remember to share our class. Many people are already in bed in the eastern part, which large majority of people live in the eastern time zone. Also, PayPal. Donate to the Booster Club. Thank you, Captain. Booster Club, Booster Club. That's how we're able to send the prophets 12 tribes worldwide. Yeah. Right? And shout out to the Booster Club. It makes it I just was with Captain Chanel, and there's trips that's going. I'm not going to say where we're going until after, but you know, they're going out they're getting ready to go and deploy out, and we're doing the work. Small missions, big missions, and it's just it's refreshing, because I remember when I first came in this truth, there was no purple and gold. There was no deacons. We called bishop elder, and we were very happy just to be learning the scriptures. It's almost, not 20 years, about 18 years ago. And now to see that we have camps almost in every continent is it's amazing. And just y'all stick around. When brothers leave this truth and sisters leave this truth, when any turmoil comes up, you were never rooted. You were that seed that was sown on stony ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Read number, is it an article? Video. Okay, it's timestamp. Yes.
Vladimir Solovyev has just repeated exactly that in his top-rating TV show.
Donald Trump is the one who doesn't understand.
Give me 1 sec. So check this out. I want to set the backdrop because I wanted to play the whole video, but it's not enough. So this is a Russian TV show. In this Russian TV show, he's talking big-ish, okay? Their TV show is a little different out there, but this is the way that if they're saying TV, which is television, right? This is the way many of the Russian people feel. Just like the whole Rocky movie, Drago, and the U.S., you think that the Russians weren't rooting for Drago in that movie? They 100% were. And they root for their country. So let's see what the television host is saying about what Russia can do.
We can destroy the world several times over.
Damn.
That's a hell of a way to start it.
Let's bring it out, Cap. And why would they lie? Why would they lie and not say that? And this is going on while Russia is decimating slowly but surely the Ukraine. The U.S. backs off funding and takes a pause. So much so that, to your point, Zelensky came over and actually opened his mouth, and Trump and J.D. Vance shut his ass down.
Yep.
Now, here's my question. Why didn't you go to Germany first? Why not go to Germany first? Because now Trump said about Zelensky, he's the best salesman ever. Every time he comes over, he walks away with $10 billion. Trump said that before he won presidency. Zelensky is a salesman, right? So now he can't get what he wants. So why didn't he go to Portugal? Why not go to Spain? Why not go to Berlin? Belgium. Why not go to the next largest, powerful, richest country? Germany. All the Mossad's behind all this, putting his men sleep at night to do this. The German chancellor just got elected. How is it that he all of a sudden is now agreeing to this? Because the Lord raised him up to elect him, because the old chancellor wasn't going to have that. The Lord raised him up, put in his spirit when men sleep at night, to men's goings of the Lord. Yep. And now all this is coming together. You got to see how the Lord is doing this thing here.
Hey, Cap, remember, throughout history, the U.S. and Russia has always been in competition with each other. As far as technological advancements go, it's always been the U.S. and Russia, And China was always, on the back end, but it was the main two players, U.S. and Russia. Space race, U.S. and Russia. Missile race, U.S. and Russia. Arms race, U.S. and Russia. Military, U.S. and Russia. When he said we can destroy the world several times over, he is not lying. They really can. Remember, like what it was, 4 years ago, they had the Satan II, and the U.S. was like, damn, that's something that we can't stop. And they have multiple missiles now that the U.S. is not going to be able to stop.
We did a show probably about less than 6 months ago. And the U.S., there were certain U.S. Military analysts that admitted Russia is like 3 to 4 years ahead in missile technology.
Damn.
They can do nothing to, obviously, what was the name? I can't remember the name of the missile.
Orishnik.
Mm-hmm. That technology, the U.S. has that in ICBM. They have intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles. But Russia has the capacity with the hypersonic technology, but they can put conventional and other warheads on there. The U.S. is not there yet. So this is why when they can make this statement, they can make it with confidence. And when we did show up on this, if y'all watch our shows, the number one number of nuclear warheads is Russia. It's several hundred ahead of the U.S. Then it's followed by the U.S. Pull me that stat. What country has the most nuclear warheads? It's good. It should pull up Russia, and it should give a number. And that's the number that they allow us average Joe Schmoes to know. Like they're really going to tell you the real number of missiles. Yeah, tell you everything they want to know about the missiles. No, it's a projected number. They probably got a lot more than that. Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Who has the most nuclear weapons? Russia has the most confirmed nuclear weapons with over 5,500 nuclear warheads. Damn.
So the U.S. has got 5,000. So they have about 450 more. So Russia, when he makes that claim, that Russian television show host makes that claim, they can destroy the world many times over.
Hey, Cap, look who's close behind. Turkey, Italy, Belgium, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So Germany is not far behind when it comes to nuclear weapons. And now you got Ukraine talking to them.
There's somebody missing up there. They ain't put China up there.
China is up there. They are
China's
up there.
like right behind the U.S.
China, they literally said China was always in the top 10. So that's a good point, obviously. Very good point. All right, now, go back to the timestamp. Number 5. We didn't get even through the first 10 seconds.
I'll remind you of the words of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. Who needs the world if Russia isn't in it?
Self-preservation.
That's the hate messaging that Putin sends his people. He's now offered Trump another carrot, more direct talks with Ukraine and Turkey next week, but that is just Putin stalling yet again for time. But once again, Trump just lets him string this out.
I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. To find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently.
Okay, so real quick, I want you to hold that 5 for the second timestamp. Now, I'm going to segue over to where Putin was attempted assassination, which is, oh gosh, maybe I didn't put it up there. I could have sworn I had it up there. Damn it. See if you can find, type in Putin drone assassination attempt. Putin, because I forgot to send this one. All right? While we get that, if you can, go to number, no, I don't want that. Yeah, whatever you pull up, video would be better. They almost successfully assassinated Vladimir Putin in a drone strike. And guess what? Why is this not? If somebody tried to take, when Trump got almost shot in his ear, it was on every media station 24/7. Probably the second most powerful man in the world has his life almost taken, and nobody's talking about it.
Because if they talk about it, somebody's going to look into it, and they might find out who was behind it.
Right. And it's funny because in one of the other articles I was looking at today, in the corresponding video, Donald Trump is asked on camera about it. Donald Trump didn't even know when it happened. His intel did not report it right away. He didn't even understand that. But the news reporter knew it before Trump did.
Damn.
And it was a bad look.
That's embarrassing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Play that. Okay. This is we may have to get another video. This is the East Indian, and all they do is play music and they just do words. Type in. Okay, I threw a curveball at you. Go back to the second timestamp. You get that held? We'll get the second timestamp for 5, and then we'll come back to that.
Commission dealing with just that reality, the national defense strategy, and we concluded a couple. In the last 4 years, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea coming together presented the most significant and serious threat to the United States interest and our.
Start it again from the beginning, because he makes a claim that they predicted years ago, right? And listen to the countries that are listed in the U.S.'s concern.
Commission dealing with just that reality, the National Defense Strategy, and we concluded a couple of things. In the last 4 years, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea coming together presented.
He said China, Iran, North Korea. He said Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So Russia and China are part of BRICS. Iran is part of BRICS. I don't think North Korea is part of BRICS. However, Putin went on his tour, and him and Zhang, whatever that fat Asian dude's name is,
Kim Jong,
they are tight. And guess what? All of them have been sanctioned. Iran, Russia, North Korea, and also China have been sanctioned by the U.S. And they predicted it 4 years ago these things were happening. Now it is coming to pass. Play on.
And serious threat to the United States interest and our allies since World War II. We also concluded that based on current military capability, U.S. military capability, and allies in the region, that we would be challenged to win a war against China in the near term.
This is very important, because the way that they fought the Gulf War #1, they had a lot of power and might in the U.S. military. Now it's spread very thin, and they're having trouble keeping recruitment quotas in certain branches of the U.S. government. Meanwhile, the Chinese army is stronger than ever before. He just said that he's projecting, he's about to say it, that the Chinese army could stand toe-to-toe and the U.S. would not be able to defeat them in an actual military outbreak of war. He's going to tell you, play on.
Because of the erosion of U.S. military capability over a period
Pause.
of...
See, this is why I get so friggin' frustrated. How is it that these guys can keep covering alignment with friggin' 30 columns and we can't even keep covering alignment? It's ridiculous. That's why you brothers got to take your marching more seriously. That's very good covering alignment. Play on.
We would be challenged to win, and indeed, we could lose. Those are the facts that we put on the table. The Trump administration is committing significant amount of funding, $150 billion, if the reconciliation bill gets passed in a one-time supplemental. It'll be the largest increase in military spending since World War II, if that is done.
So pause. World War II ended in 1945. That would be 80 years ago. And we're at the point now where Donald Trump is the increase in military budget is not just for the Navy, Marines, Air Force. It's for the Golden Dome. That's a military protection. Now, speaking of that, pull up the last number 12. Number 12. Why would Donald Trump give away $61 billion worth of value if he was not going to gain something? Babylon is trying to preserve this side of the world for the final war. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect themselves of an attack. Pearl Harbor, they attacked Hawaii. Hawaii is way in the middle of the damn ocean. The U.S. shores has not been attacked since they did it in since Britain attacked them in like 17, right after the Declaration of Independence. Britain attacked again in like 1803 or 1812. Since then, the U.S. shores have not been attacked. Pearl Harbor doesn't count. Japan attacked Hawaii. Hawaii is way the hell out in the middle of the ocean. This is what Trump is preparing for. Intercontinental missiles shot from across the seas, and he wants Canada, not because he loves the Canadian citizens, it's because they got a big, beautiful landmass that he could put planes and weaponry up there. Play.
Trump is offering Canada protection under his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system.
But there's a catch. Pay for that protection, or it could be free if they become the next U.S. state. Our Washington correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
On Tuesday, President Trump wrote on his Truth Social account that Canada is considering his offer regarding his Golden Dome system. He said in part, quote, "I told Canada, which very much wants to be part of our fabulous Golden Dome system, that it'll cost $61 billion if they remain a separate but unequal nation, but will cost $0 if they become our cherished 51st state." Last week, the president announced they want to move forward with creating a so-called Golden Dome.
Pause. I'm going to show you something how the Most High works. Type in book called The Art of the Deal. Type that in. There's a reason why Donald Trump was a real estate tycoon, had a show called The Apprentice. There's a reason why he did all of these things. It was all for a culmination of him right now. Because he's making, no president has ever moved business like this. No, Trump, Carter, Reagan, none of them. Trump is a businessman. He has the art of the deal. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. The Most High is using his personality because he has the backing of the whole country right now, even though he's waning in popularity. If you look at the state of the presidential elections, all those counties are red. He has the support of America. When I say America, the people that count to America, which is white people, okay? And even got a lot of black votes too. The point is this, the Lord is using him to be able to negotiate these crazy things, to say these crazy, and make 145% tariff on China, all so he can bring in these wars, the 10 horns hating the whore. All this is happening for a reason. Look between the lines. Play on, sorry.
A missile defense system using satellites to detect, track, and intercept incoming ballistic missiles. The project could reportedly cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
It should be fully operational before the end of my term.
According to a Politico report, Canada would be a critical centerpiece for a project like this. The northern country could give the U.S. valuable airspace for sensors to intercept or shoot down missiles that China and Russia are developing to fly over the North Pole.
Officer Yasser mentioned earlier, they said that one of the largest countries with nuclear weapons, it said Russia, and then it listed a bunch of European countries. China is the second one that they listed here. Why? Because China has almost as much as the U.S. They're not too far behind them. And they're worried about China and Russia. That's why they fear BRICS, okay? All these things are happening. And again, the title of the show, put the thumbnail up if it's not too much trouble, put the thumbnail up. When a country is failing and falling and crumbling, they scramble. As they're spread thin, they try to, now what do? Let's regroup. How do we regroup? Let's pull back from NATO. Let's pull back some of our bases, pull back funding. They were given $40 million for voter rights in India. Crazy stuff like that they've uncovered. Pull all the funding back. Pull all these agencies back. Build the Golden Dome. As the ship goes down, we're going to go down with a bang. That's what's going on right now. They're scrambling. They're being spread thin. They're trying to preserve. And Canada, believe it, Canada may be in some way write up where they are part of it, where Trump gets what he wants and they get what they want. And all of that's going to become one geographic landmass. And guess what? That's why they was beefing with Panama Canal. All of that, they want to control this whole Western Hemisphere. All right? So they have launch points. Play on.
According to other reports, Canadian officials are in discussions on security-related issues with the U.S., including the Golden Dome and NORAD, but not giving up its independence. The president has repeatedly stated he wants our northern neighbor to join the U.S. However, Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has repeatedly said that is not an option.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
In a recent speech to Canada's Parliament, King Charles, who is the head of state in Canada, a member of the Commonwealth, showed support for Canada following Trump's 51st statehood comments.
Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination, and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear. and ones which the government is determined to protect.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp, WENY News.
So look, see how Trump is acting? He's not going to take no for an answer. This is why God raised him up. He is wheeling and dealing. He understands psychology. This is why when he went to the Arab countries, he's able to secure all these billions and billions of dollars with the United Arab Emirates, with Qatar, with Saudi Arabia. We did that a couple shows ago. The Most High is using Donald Trump to make a lot of moves to bring in the war, Armageddon, or the Valley of Armageddon. All right, now, what time is it? 11:30. All right. One more before we go to Lardback attack. There was one other article, and I forget which one it was. Yes, yeah, bring it up.
I like his posture, Trump's posture in that last video, because Canada's president said it's not for sale and it never will be, and Trump was like, okay, nothing is for sale until you have to make a decision. Now your decision is become vulnerable to missile attacks or get my protection. If you want my protection, this is the cost. If you don't want either, there's another cost. Which one are you going to pick? Self-preservation. That's what King Charles said. They're going to self-preserve. They're not going to just sit there and just be naked without, and in the U.S. right here next door got all the protection. Nah, they're going to make a choice.
So here's the thing. Remember your point. The way that the Esau does it, they just change stuff and rewrite stuff. They'll work it out where Canada will think that they're getting what they want and Trump gets what he wants. They'll set up unilateral joint bases and Canada will think it's really a Canadian base, but the U.S. has all the equipment there. They're going to work that out.
Yep.
And it's all for, again, if Babylon's going down, the U.S. dollar is weakening, okay? China's dumping the U.S. currency. So what do? If the ship's sinking, you try to get the water out. That's what they're doing. Pull funding. Forget about NATO. We got to focus on the U.S. Let's secure everything around us. Get it strong. They're building a fort and a hedge of protection. Why? Because they know stuff is coming here. Okay. Now, last one, Reagan. Reagan talked about this in the mid-'80s. I remember when I was a kid, Ronald Reagan, he was a talk. So all my parents, Ronald Reagan, everyone loved Reagan. Even Democrats like Reagan. Number 11. Ronald Reagan talked about this 40-something years ago. More than that. Yeah, 40-something years ago. Damn, I'm getting old. Play number 11.
In October 1986, 2 years into my service at CBN News, I reported on President Ronald Reagan's summit with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. And
Yes, you remember Gorbachev?
Yes, he had the world map on his head.
Yes. Hey, that dude. Listen, when we were kids, we used to have jokes about Gorbachev, and remember, I think Rocky IV came out in the 80s. That was the biggest movie at that time. It was the whole thing was Ivan Drago killed Carl Weathers, which is Action Jackson. Killed him. And then Rocky avenges it, like Rocky really cared about Carl Weathers. Like, do you ever see Rocky hanging out with Carl Weathers and standing up for Carl Weathers and being the victim of racism? No, Rocky didn't do that.
Rocky was an all-American guy, man.
All-American. The best.
All right, Rocco. All right, Sly.
Hey, you know what? I get a front, man. I'd be a hypocrite. I like the movies, man. It had me, and you know, it's funny, man. Mr. T was the baddest one, and we actually, if you psychologically, if you go back and watch that, you found yourself rooting for Rocky. I'm like, God damn, why? I like Mr. T, but they painted him as Clubber Lang, like he was an evil, terrible man.
No, he was just a very good boxer.
He beat the hell out of Rocky. So now, I'm sorry to digress. Now, so this is Ronald Reagan, 1986. What he did, those of us who will remember, I remember I was a kid, and I remember him talking about weaponry and protection in the sky. Now we're 39 years later, the technology is here. Remember, they didn't have cell phones back in 86. There was no smartphone. We had the Jetsons. They used to have Mr. Spacey with the watch and the phone, and we'd be like, yeah, right. But that they had the mind for it back then.
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy, 100%. The top hat and the yellow jacket with his watch and all that. Play.
Iceland. The summit ended abruptly when President Reagan leaned over the negotiation table and told Gorbachev, "Niet," meaning no. In exchange for reducing arms, Gorbachev demanded that Reagan abandon his plans for the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, also known as Star Wars. SDI was Reagan's vision for a space-based missile defense system. He asserted that Gorbachev was holding all nuclear arms agreements with the United States hostage to the SDI, something President Reagan was unwilling to concede.
I pledged to the American people that there was no way that I would give away SDI. Strategic defense is the key to making arms reduction work. It protects us against the possibility that at some point, when the elimination of ballistic missiles is not yet complete, that the Soviets may change their minds.
Now pause. This is before the dissolving of the Soviet Union. All that happened in 1991. When you see countries like Kurdistan, Uzbekistan, and these other, they were all part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was absolutely immense. Russia is a significant part of the leftover landmass of the Soviet Union. During that time, the Soviet Union was mind-blowing. And that's why there was a fear in Rocky IV. The Russians were more powerful. There was a fear of losing to the Russians. Okay, that was always in the back of everybody's mind. Okay, to the point, wasn't it? And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it Russia in 1961 that parked on the island of Cuba
Cuban Missile
and
Crisis.
almost had us go to the Third World War? Cuban Missile Crisis. This has been going on since the early 60s. So, anyways,
Cap,
bring it out.
Did you know that Ronald Reagan relied on sorcerers to tell about the future?
I had heard that.
Yes.
I thought it was I heard that before.
How you say prognosticator?
Monthly prognosticator. Yes,
that's what he had. And what they were really doing is they were looking into the Bible, and they're trying to avoid the future, what's coming to them. So that's what Reagan was trying to do,
right?
And set it up to try to reduce arms. But a seven-headed beast got dragon heads, they're always going to fight.
Hey, you want to know where also they got that from? Because our elders were in Times Square in the mid-'80s casting down imaginations and every high thing that them brothers, who was it? Doggone. Marshall and Arya. These brothers were in Times Square in New York City, Manhattan, going off. And that's right before Bishop Nathaniel came out. I think Bishop been in for over 30 years. Bishop came in 1990. So a little bit before Bishop came in, his elders, and guess what? All of them Republicans were paying attention because they was, when you watch the old tapes, they had the whole block locked down, stuck on, oh my gosh. That's why they fear the schools that came out of One West. Yep. Okay, they fear the schools that came out of one. And Bishop Nathaniel is one of the brightest, most fierce, creative men that came out of. And that's why IUIC is doing such big things, because he kept the generalship, he kept the passion, the doctrine, and began to go into different things, not just Esau's the devil, but other things. And that's why IUIC is growing, because he had strong elders that guided him, and now he took it to the next level. So I just wanted to bring that out, because during that time of Reagan, they was in Times Square going crazy. We're almost done.
Forward 39 years later, Donald Trump is committed to realizing Ronald Reagan's vision for Homeland Security. He's proposing to invest $175 billion in a missile defense system called the Golden Dome. The system would be similar to Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, but with the added feature of being space-based.
I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. and that's what we're doing. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term.
Some Democrats on Capitol Hill argue with the national debt projected to approach 40.
All right, pause. So we're going to end on that. Y'all just keep in mind the things that are going on in the news. Pay attention. Again, it was not reported the fact, and I don't think we got the full article. Vladimir Putin, his helicopter was nearly successfully shot down. Play the video. By drones that were not Ukrainian-led. It was a proxy saying it was the Ukraine. It was NATO. And guess what? The U.S. is part of NATO. It's not doggone Belarus and Denmark that's behind pushing all the doctrine. It's the big players, the U.S., Germany, France. They're the fund. They're the power and the money behind it. Play that.
Escalated even further as Russian military commander claimed that President Vladimir Putin's helicopter was nearly struck during a Ukrainian drone attack just last week. Yuri Dashkin, commander of an air defense division in the area, told Russian news agency RBC that Putin's aircraft was flying through the region when a large-scale Ukrainian drone offensive began. He said the Russian leader's helicopter was, quote-unquote, effectively at the epicenter of the attack and that Russian air defenses intercepted drones approaching the flight path. Now, there were no injuries or damage reported during the incident, and Putin's convoy reportedly continued without interruption. However, Russian authorities have not provided additional evidence or independent confirmation of the attack, and the Kremlin has remained silent on the matter as well.
The proof that it was not the Ukraine is that how do you get the positioning of a presidential convoy? Now, when you look at a motor vehicle convoy, it's you have certain vehicles that are in the front, the back. You have certain gunners, 50 cals, and that. The same thing, a helicopter convoy is you got different ships in the sky, and it's all strategic. So they found out that position, and that was backed by NATO. It was backed by NATO, and there's other things. Anyways, we're going to close out, go to Lardback very quick tonight. Thanks for sticking around. Stick around for Lardback Attack. Shalom.
Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And do it to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And do it to the end, going all in. Going all in.
Shalom, shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Lardback Attack, you know, the goal of this segment, Lardback Attack, is to do away with this segment. My aim in this whole doing this, it is a sense of making fun of a obesity epidemic in IUIC and greater black society. However, if we could get this so I would never have to do this segment again, that would be the objective accomplished. Now, so just like in human beings who are overweight and obese, it doesn't look natural. It looks almost like it's surreal. So the best way to capture that is to go to the animal world. So we're going to show you a video of a morbidly obese dog. And look how unnatural it looks in the animal world. Sometimes you got to go there to take a step back. And when you're looking at a lardback, used to weigh 320 pounds and now it's 250 pounds.
Damn.
Shots fired for a brother in the room. He's doing all right. Play it.
Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick-ass boy.
Everybody look. Doesn't that look like a bear? That don't look like a goddamn dog. That look like a brown bear, bro. And I guarantee you that it's a black dude doing a voiceover. I guarantee that's the Edomite dog. They just keep feeding them and feed them and feed. And that's what we learned, whereas blacks, Hispanic, we learned the obesity epidemic. We were taught by our slave masters to eat like that. And that's why we're fat and out of shape and disgusting. Now, play it again from the beginning. We're gonna close out.
Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy.
Yeah, that's the same thing I say about Captain Severus. Yeah, he's about 312 pounds. Actually, Severus, he's doing a great job, as a matter of fact. I get on him. So now we're going to remind everybody, Men's Conference 2025 is right around the corner. I want to encourage and remind all of the men that you've had 10 months at this point to get to the green. And if you have not got to the green, and this goes to everybody, no individual, that it just shows, you can't change the fact if you're born with, say, let's say, for example, a cleft in your lip. You can get surgery for it. You can't change if you're born hard of hearing. I could probably get surgery for that too. If you're deaf, if you're blind, if you have cerebral palsy, if you have diabetes 1, right? But you can change how many calories you consume, how many times a day you eat. And it just shows that some of the brothers, and some brothers, they're real close. I'm talking about the men who haven't done anything. Been 10 months and you lost 5 pounds and gained 10 pounds. You keep going seesaw. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care about the scriptures when it comes to this. Now, look, you may be on point in every other part of your life. You're talking about you do everything right. You give your alms. You do this and that. Great, and keep doing that. But because you don't care about, now you can't go out to camp with the men. Some of them captains, senior officers. How can you, now after 1 month, there's mercy. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months later, you still haven't moved down. The problem is now you are a lackluster officer or soldier because you are now part-time. You can't even go out to camp but twice. That's a problem. That's a liability. You're a liability. And those of you who know you can fix it and don't fix it, it's because your faith is not really here yet. It's not about just you and you being selfish. It's about all of us together. I digress. The power in, I want you to imagine this. Everybody at home, close your eyes. When we're in formation and we're marching, we're singing, we're stepping, part of the reason why it looks so powerful is because we all have the same colored boots, same colored pants, and same shirt. Imagine if 25% of us had an orange shirt, 13% of us had a yellow shirt. You get the gist, right? It would look confusing. When we all get to the green together as a body, all of us are going to have overall a relatively good bill of health and a relatively flat stomach. That is even more powerful than a uniform. Why? Because people are starting to notice the change that we've made already thus far. Okay? We have to get in the same mind that I'm not just doing it for myself. Now, the individual benefits that you're going to have, lower blood pressure, and I keep saying the same thing. People get annoyed when I talk, and I could give two craps how you feel. I really could. You're not going to have lower blood pressure, better cholesterol, less of a fatty liver. All these markers of health are going to improve individually on you. But not only that, now you can increase the faith of other men. Yo, that brother did it. I could do it. You got to start thinking about other people outside of your selfish self. We're all going to get there together. We're all going to sacrifice together. Once you get that mindset, we're going to all get to the green. And this is just the first step. But if you're selfish, I don't care. And that's what you say through your actions. Last scripture, Sirach 30, verse 25, probably, arguably the most important scripture for us to get here.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Why are you cheerful? Because a cheerful man will know, yes, I must sacrifice. Okay, now I can't eat maybe 4 times a day. I got to do 2 or 1 time. And I'm going to not eat the pie. I'm not going to eat this. I'm going to have the salad. I'm going to have I'm going to have the Greek yogurt with the berries instead of the apple pie and the Breyers ice cream. You make the conscious decisions because you care. You're cheerful. Man, I'm going to get in shape. My brothers are going to get in shape. We're all going to get in shape as a nation, as men. Then we can make the way for the herd of cattle known as sisters. Love you to death, but you're horrible. Most 80% of you sisters are overweight. And I've been holding my mouth for a long time with you big fat sisters. And I'm going to take a step back. Because right now, you got us. But he's fat. And you're right, sister. You're going to win that battle. But once all the ranking men get into the green, the gloves come off, and you're going to be forced, figuratively, can't force any sister to stop. You're going to be compelled, I'll say, to get there yourself. We want to be the subsection of black and brown America that has shown revolutionary changes. They might not know, Esau's the devil. But wait a minute. They say they're the hate group, but how is it that all of them is in shape? How is it that they're doing something? Let me learn more, because maybe I'm prejudging them. Maybe I'm not giving them a chance. The Lord going to use us together to open more doors for us. So it goes back to stop caring about your fat self and start worrying about your nation. There's John F. Kennedy, last thing I'm going to say. John F. Kennedy did a quote that black people repeat today. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's probably a little bit off in the accent. So now we take the same philosophy and apply it to the nation of Israel. Ask not what the nation of Israel can do for you, but what you can do for the nation of Israel. It is our job as men to lead the way. And I'll be damned if anybody is going to stop the progress of us moving forward. Anybody in the yellow, get to the friggin' green by men's conference. Anybody in the red, you better at least get to the yellow. And if you don't, there's consequences coming down the pipeline. And you could put that on your calendar too. So all praise to the Most High. We want all of you to stay healthy. And with that, I'm Captain Shem, Lardback, Tak Shalom.
Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win.
Hey, Shalom Israel. We appreciate all of y'all sticking around. Late night show. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please share our video. Give us some ideas. Make comments. Shout out to the brothers and sisters who do send us things. We appreciate you. And there's some sisters and brothers that every week, and we really value that, the fact that you're thinking about the show. I know Captain Matt tracks comments quite well. It's important that we, and if you have ideas for the show, I mean, right now we're doing what's trending in the news, but if you ever have, I know that our very own Officer Yasa, we've got a whole series we're planning on the Dark Ages. Yep. We're gonna really come out with a thorough when we get some time. And we're going to show heavy history on the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal. Okay, Yasa, years he's been saying that. We're going to come out with that. And any other ideas, let us know. We appreciate you. And Cap, with the Booster Club, hit that PayPal. So look, we are continuing to go on missions year-round, not just at Passover. We need your help. We need your support. And men in this room, some of you brothers at home, okay, you're going to be the next soldiers that rise up and are sent out to the lost sheep. So we appreciate you. We value all. There's some of you brothers and sisters who may not be of rank, who may actually live 3-4 hours from a school and maybe can't get to a school. But the Lord will put it on your spirit to help us do things that we couldn't do before. Some of you may have jobs where you have to quietly sit in the background. You believe. You do everything, you keep the commandments, and you are like a modern-day Joseph of Arimathea, meaning you got power, you have influence, but you're doing it in a way that helps us. Okay, so keep it up. We appreciate you. You know what I mean? So, anything else, brothers, you want to bring out? I know it's late. Okay, with that, it's now 2 hours in. We are your host. I'm Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
All praise to the Most High. And with that, we say
Shalom.
Love, even if you don't support it, you can't ignore it. Even if you had an army on your side, you can't destroy it. We not ready for the smoke, we looking for it. When we hit the streets, we'll be so deep the door, you can't ignore it. Even if you don't support it, you can't ignore it. Even if you had